Frieren is a fantasy anime, and I love fantasy anime, so let's talk about it. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This video is gonna be about Frieren and why you need to watch this show. So let's begin. So first of all, what is Frieren? Well, if you're one of the people that haven't heard about the show or just haven't watched this anime yet, Frieren is an anime that was adapted from a very popular manga that talks about an immortal elf and her long journey throughout the world. The story actually begins after the subjugation of Demon Lord, which is a very unique concept in the fantasy genre. Our main protagonist Frieren, along with the party members, return to the city to celebrate their victory against the Demon Lord. The hero's party, along with Frieren, have 4 members: Frieren the mage, Aizen the warrior, Haito the priest, and finally Himmel the hero. Now Himmel is a very important character for the story and for Frieren herself. Himmel is one of the key characters and the core behind the whole story, and we're gonna get to that later. So after the celebration, the whole party members look up on the stars, reminiscing about their adventure days and make a promise to watch it again 50 years later.
What?
Now 50 years is a very big amount of time for a human being. It is half of their life, but for an elf who has probably lived for more than thousands of years, it is more like a week. So Frieren doesn't think much about it and just goes on her little adventure, while our party members aren't even sure whether they'll survive the next 50 years. So what happens when she returns? Well, every one of her party members are dead, and now she is on her way to take revenge. Just kidding. Well, what actually happens is that upon her return, Himmel, who was once a very handsome and powerful man, has now turned into an average old man. The people have changed, the town had changed, and even the hero had changed, but Frieren hasn't. And the anime just shows us the difference between elf and human and what Frieren has gone through her entire life. But since Frieren has already lived for such a long time, Frieren finds this very normal and she doesn't care at all. All of her party members gather together and they all go to their last adventure together. Now, nothing dramatic happens in this adventure. They all go to the destination, watch the shooting stars and return. But after their visit, shortly after, Himmel the hero dies. The man who was known as the strongest man who defeated the Demon Lord dies. The villagers are sad and everybody is sad. They all mourn his passing, but Frieren doesn't act sad at all. In fact, she doesn't show any emotions at all, and the villagers are surprised and even call her heartless. But for Frieren, she doesn't understand why she needs to be sad over a man who was only part of her life for such a short time. Now, 10 years is a very long time for a human being, but for an elf, it is very insignificant. So Frieren doesn't understand why she needs to cry over Himmel. From her perspective, a mere 10 years is such a short time that she didn't even have a time to learn about Himmel at all. She doesn't know what he likes to eat, his favorite music, or even what he likes to do in his free time. She doesn't know anything about him at all. And that is when Frieren starts to cry. Well, you see, it's not about losing a friend, but rather about losing the chance to even get to know a friend. 50 years, and that is half a life for people, and she regrets that she didn't try to learn more about Himmel in those times, and that she lost a very good friend.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
And little moments like this is what makes Frieren so special and such a unique fantasy anime. It is not your typical action fantasy, nor is it your overpowered main character type of anime. It is slow, emotional, it takes its time, and I think it's the perfect definition of the fantasy anime. Now that we know the basic premise of the show and what it's about, let's talk about what it is so good at.
ありがとうフリーレン。君のおかげで 最後にとても楽しい冒険ができた。
First thing that I need to say about this anime is music. The music is phenomenal in this show. The music just puts you out of the real world and puts you into the anime itself. You feel like you're living and breathing the same air as the character themselves. Its music reminds me of Mushoku Tensei, where you feel like instead of listening to it, you're actually experiencing it. This helps to increase immersion a lot, which is perfect for a show like Frieren. But music isn't the only thing that's similar to Mushoku Tensei. The animation is as well. I don't know what art style this is, but the animation is so good that you forget that it's not even real. From the subtle movement to the fight sequence and even idle animations, everything is breathtaking in this anime. And I really appreciate Madhouse for doing this. Like every anime that Madhouse pick up is always god tier. So yeah, thank you Madhouse. Thank you. Now moving on to our final point, that is characters. Remember when I said I would talk about him later? Yeah, now it's later. So yes, characters. Both the main characters and side characters are done perfectly in this anime. There are so many interesting and independent characters who move with their own goals and aspirations in mind. It's amazing how Himmel, who died in the first episode, is somehow more relevant than any other characters throughout the whole show, and how much the author has managed to connect Himmel with us viewers. And this is just about Himmel. There are so many more great characters in Frieren like Frieren, Stark, and even this guy. Heck, I haven't even talked about Frieren yet. She isn't just your emotionless, badass, omnipotent character who doesn't give a shit. No, Frieren is flawed in many ways. She is lazy, dumb, and more importantly, she is constantly wasting time. But she tries to improve herself and tries to learn. Even though she may seem very cold and she might try to abandon you, she never does, and deep down she is really kind, so you can't just help but like her. So if you're interested in a unique fantasy anime with a great story and top tier production value, Frieren is the perfect anime for you. That's it for today's video. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.
やめてよ。